And now we're going to continue with looking at parenthood and the Holocaust, the study that was done at Yad Vashem and Ben Gurion University. Today, now we're going to look at the parenthood themes in the Yad Vashem testimonies and biographical interviews that were analyzed. One of the first themes we're going to take a look at is the theme of maintaining emotional memories. The fact is that very few parents who had children during the Holocaust survived and or gave testimony about aspects related to their own parenthood. So in one sense, therefore, the information that we have about parenthood is formulated mostly from the perspective of the children. It's important to remember that single perspective that may be biased, and it's difficult to know in which direction the bias takes until we hear the different accounts of the same events from a parent and a child. So the following themes that I will present to you from this research of parenthood were gleaned through global analysis of the many interviews at Yad Vashem. The four themes that are emerged here that are looked at in detail. Number one is the potential for emotional memory. 2, the salience of the family and the focus on caring for each other or failing to do so. 3, the idealization of the parents or the family unit. And 4, parental, quote, mistakes, the difficulties in understanding the parental decisions that were made during the Holocaust. We'll take a look at the first one, the potential for emotional memory. Survivors who had a close emotional relationship with significant others before, during, and after their traumatic experience have maintained more vivid and emotional memories than those who were left physically and emotionally alone by the experience. While there are signs in the interview that Anat also feels anger toward her mother due to feelings of fear and desertion, these are interwoven with a deep admiration and a strong sense of protection by her mother. Later on in the interviews, an individual by the name of Dove speaks of the kind of father he is. He connects his style of parenting to his experiences during the Holocaust. He says, "I believe that I am cruel. I lose sensitivity. You go through a childhood that is not so nice. I believe difficult things are not something that need to frighten you. I cannot stand when they, his children, are afraid of something being difficult. Of course, it's a mistake. There's no doubt that it's a wrong response. It doesn't have to be like that. And you have to be a soft man who gives hugs and kisses. I don't know how to do that. But it's easy for me to help out in times of distress. It's easy for me to help when the distress is real, because that's all he knows." Based upon those and other examples, we suggest that the study suggests that such memorized and conflicted feelings, usually so difficult to recall and verbalize, were related to some feeling of physical and emotional safety with which the parents provided their children during this traumatic period. And in contrast, we have examples from other interviews in the process here, where survivors who were alone during the terrible times in the ghetto, in the camps, with the partisans, or in hiding. These individuals have difficulties recalling emotionally or conflicting memories. This difficulty is not only a loss for them, but also a loss for their listeners. Perhaps more importantly, it is a loss for their offspring, who grew up with a less emotional open support compared to the children of the other survivors that were interviewed. However, in order to develop this research fully, they needed to look at the interviews with the children as well. Placed between these two extremes are the survivors who went through the war with a member of the family but who demonstrated very little emotion in their narratives. Ruth was one of the survivors interviewed, and in her interview it's almost completely devoid of emotions. This seems to be related to the fact that as a young child, Ruth had almost no contact with family members outside of her nuclear family, and appears to have been insulated in general from the outside world. It could also indicate that she did not have a very close relationship with her father prior to the war or during the shared experience during the Holocaust. In view of that, we can tentatively assert that the expression of emotional and detailed memories may be related to the existence of emotional closeness with a significant other, be it either positive or problematic. The second theme that emerges is the salience of the family and the focus on caring for each other or failing to do so. The issue of caring with either positive or negative consequences is almost a universal theme in the testimonies and interviews analyzed by the researchers. And that never actually separated emotionally from her mother. We learn that she refuses to visit her mother's grave and that she has daily, quote, talks with her concerning her problems. The testimonies at Yad Vashem include many references to the importance of keeping family together no matter what, and the focus on caring for each other or failing to do so. This was a